I think the video's up and the audio is up. We'll give it a try. Video's up. Audio's up. We'll give it a try on the Old Tube Radio Network. And Mr. Charlie Alpha Tango, what, buddy? What? All right. Mr. Charlie Alpha Tango is not, it's not liking the fancy cat food today, I don't think. What time is it? About 8:03, the Old Tube Radio Network. Real Radio's glowing in the dark, where for the last 35 years we have been hanging out here on Saturday evenings. Here is 27085 Channel 11 in the Central Valley of California, waiting for our tube radio operators to stop by with their radio collections as we talk about tube radios and do radio checks and microphone checks and all the things that one might do on the 11-meter Citizen Band Class D radio service. We invite you to help us out in that endeavor, whether you're listening on a tube radio or not. You might be listening in at oldtuberadio.net on the audio side, or perhaps on the live or not so live, as the case may be, whenever you're watching video stream on YouTube. Well, welcome to all of you, and remind you that the purpose of OTR is to promote the use and distribute information about Old Tube radios when we can. It is the first week of our new 8-week roster, and with that, I am supposed to, Bozo Control was supposed to give me, okay, here they are, some numbers of those with perfect, what is this, planters. So that's where the peanuts went. I wonder, we brought this big honking thing of peanuts, and I noticed that I never did get any peanuts, but it is empty and is now full of these little papers with the SWL numbers. So I'm thinking, of course, that Bozo Control ate all the peanuts. All right, I'm going to grab one of these so we can get started with our new 00, and it is SWL 21, Mr. JT, who is having to check in early and head out and do some stuff. So, JT, if you're still listening, you are 00. I will get you checked in and checked in at the appropriate time. I'm looking for the official OTR pin. I see the official OTR. I guess we'll have to do it in red. Red is okay. So, JT, if you're listening, I know you've got, I know you're busy over there. I've got a lot of stuff going on, so hopefully that is going okay, and we will get you checked in. Over. Next, we have SWL number 1, who is always listening and trying to give me suggestions on how to do this, how to do this better. You'd think I'd know by now. SWL number 2, Mr. OBP. I am looking to see if he is listening in on the video side. Don't see Mr. OBP. SWL 3 was at the bowling alley on Wednesday, or on Thursday, where I think I had my lowest series of the season. I'll get Rob check in. How about SWL number 4? SWL 5. SWL 6. SWL 7. Well, I hope everybody is feeling well, or else you're maybe standing in line trying to buy the necessities of life. SWL 13. Don't forget, you can check in at oldtuberadio.net. You can get in the comments section there if you're from near and far out or can't get on the air. Or, make an adjustment here. Check in with us at 27085, SWL 14. SWL 15. 25, if I can make it through all that noise. Yeah, you're sounding great. Good to see you are still radioactive, and then the antenna is beaconing from the potato market here into beautiful Midtown Fresno. Guess that's the big potato market. Anyway, you are checked in. And maybe even bigger these days with the lines. SWL 17. SWL 18. SWL 19. Shortwave listener 20, who was supposed to have a proxy check-in, but I just saw a message that 20 is listening in from Anaheim, and I will check in all the other things. All right, I'm glad you got the mobile portable radio thing tuned in somewhere out there. In fact, I should say hello to all those who are listening. Up in the front row, it is Texas and New York. Near my old stomping grounds of Hawthorne, hello to you. Hello to Somerville, South Carolina, our station in Colorado that's been listening in forever. Waiting to say hello and wave a hand if the conditions permit. Hello to the big three, the trio in British Columbia up there in Squamish. Hello to Toll House, Dallas, Georgia, Hendersonville, Tennessee, coming up to you. Canby, Oregon, coming up to you. Hello to Riverside, Inglewood, Colorado, and San Francisco. I think San Francisco is X4000, so we'll get Mr. X4000 checked in at the appropriate time. Continuing on, direct-to-net roll call. Just a reminder, if you're watching the video later than sooner, we will be checking in the radios in about 20 minutes, so if you want to scroll through the SWL stuff. But I would stick right here, because we often have some fun things going on. SWL 21, who is also, and he's done this before, our new 00 out there in the Wasama swamps of South Carolina, where the ground rod is coronavirus free. Thank you, JT. SWL 22. Let me see who's checked in down on the bottom so I don't miss anybody. All right, I think we're going good there. 80-mile-an-hour winds blowing down the antennas. Wow, up there in Squamish. We had probably 20-mile-an-hour winds today on the front end of the cell or the storm or the front that is going to bring us rain for the next couple of days. But I don't think I could handle 80-mile-an-hour winds here with the little Starduster. SWL 23. I do believe that Mitch, who is rewriting superhero history to make it a little bit more 11-meter friendly. I'm waiting for some movies to come out. Where is he? There he is. Saying good evening. It's 23 Skidoo. Well, wait a minute. Mr. Peanut is right here. There he is. Where's Mr. Peanut? And there are little tiny, no more peanuts. I wish there was some peanuts in there. Wish there was some peanuts in there. All right, we got Mitch checked in. Over to SWL 24. SWL 25. SWL 25.
25 checking in.
All right, trying to get my foot switch to work 100% of the time. You are sounding good. I've got you checked in. Over. And then over we go to page 2, SWL 27. Wait a minute. I think, try it again. Try it again, 27, over.
27, checking in via the FM crossband, KI6QEL.
Okay, I was trying to get things patched through, and I didn't quite hear it as good as I hoped, but I think you were in there. You might have heard yourself come back to me. KB6GFD. All right, Dwayne is checked in from the crossband. I was trying a little fancy patch through into the audio board, and it's right channel, left channel challenge for the possible upcoming, I don't know, if we could Echo Link and other things on another channel here to patch through. It's a cable nightmare, but I'm working on it. Over to a proxy check-in for Mr. Loner, SWL 29. And then we go up to SWL 31, and I do believe Hendersonville was on my list of lists. Where it is, right in the center there. They're hiding. They're hiding out near the orchestra pit. Robert and Teresa, thank you for checking in this evening. SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control, the Jingle Singers, who we have not heard. Where are the Jingle Singers tonight? Here we go. I got kind of a late start. We will. Is the big band? No, the big band is not tuned down. Let's do this first. See if they're actually working here.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
Great. Now all the levels are not good. We will work on that as we go through. Next we have SWL 35. And I think Mr. Bill is listening in, checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming. I hope the winds aren't 80 miles an hour up there, which could be the case. But Mr. Bill, you are sounding good. Thanks for listening in. Over to SWL 36. SWL 37.
WL37. Dennis, I could have sworn you have surround sound over there.
I might. I'm not sure exactly what you're hearing, but right now it's anything's up for grabs.
Okay, and speaking of wind, excuse me. When I lived in Kansas, it was either 85, between 80 to 85, 90 mile an hour winds when I had my quad up. Had it aim into it. It didn't even look like a beam no more, just like a rod out there with a little thing sticking out on the side, swinging backwards.
Yeah, some antennas work better than others in the high winds or icing conditions or something, but 80 miles an hour is sort of the test, I think. But we always heard you when you checked in, or when you could make the conditions. And hearing you now, so I got you checked in.
Thank you. Well, excuse me. I don't have the virus, it's just allergies. Well, on paperwork it says will withstand 100 miles an hour winds. So, well, how true that is, I don't know, but I know it stood between 80 and 85, something like that.
Yeah, with antennas, two things that you have to take with a grain of salt are the wind ratings and the forward gain. If you can get anywhere close to what they say, you've got a good deal. Thanks.
I bet you, Dennis. I'll be waiting.
All right, yeah, we will be checking in the glow-in-the-dark tube radios coming up here after the roll call, so stay tuned. SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40. SWL 41, and that is 507 Road Dog out there, typically tech checking in on the video side, where we have hello to Mark out there in Vancouver Island, the mother of all wind, private tour out there listening in. Rainy Beach in Aptos. Oh, so it is raining on the coast. So you're sending the rain this way. Probably we will get it late tonight, whatever is going on. There is X4000 checking in from probably beaconing a signal down from the International Space Station, or I don't know, something. I'm getting an echo on that. Mark out there in Vancouver Island. Also in New York, saying good evening, where it is late. Thank you, Smart E. And hey, there is 52. I will get you in a second there, in a moment. Aaron. Also, Mark says the jacket is very nice. I'm having a good evening. This is people think I stole this from John Motormouth Mall, but I think this is what he wears when he is up adjusting the 98-foot boomed antenna. He's got, 1,000 feet of Philistran little wind-supportive boom brace guys. So you got to, if you're going to go crashing down to the ground, you should look good. You should do it in style. But I think the antenna he's got up this time isn't going to go anywhere. Directed net roll call. We just checked in, are looking for 41. How about SWL 42? SWL 43.
43, we're in here tonight. Dennis, good evening.
And you're sounding good. Hope you can hear me okay. Band is kind of quiet tonight. 43's checked in.
Church and change,
All right. Well, what do they say on 11 meters? If they get some power to the tower, fire in the wire, something like that, it may help out. But you're doing a great job. Thanks for checking in.
Modulation makes up for your carriers, so leave it at that. Have a good evening.
Yeah, I might actually be getting close to 100% these days. I'm going to get one of those REA modulation meters and see how close I'm up to 100% with this kind of quivery ALC transmitter here. I know I'm not where I need to be on the audio, but when you're number 7, you try harder. SWL 44, Mr. Ray, I thought I saw a 44 somewhere. Let me look. Let me browse the items here. Yes, over at oldtuberadio.net. Is present and waving hand. And also, I skipped over SWL7, who was at the top there. So if you're listening, Ed, who's probably away from the microphonium for a little while, I will get 7 checked in as well. 44 is checked in. And that takes us up to SWL 45.
Sounds good tonight, Dennis. 45.
All right, not bad for single-digit milliwatts, I guess. Likewise, you are sounding good, Paul. And if you're feeling up to it, might hear you in the radio room later on tonight. Thanks. Next, we have SWL 46. SWL 47.
Good evening, OTR, and all the other radio listeners. Greetings from the Radio Lounge. Well, I guess it's the Radio Lounge now. Maybe Monday. I have a feeling Monday morning I might be out selling pencils or perhaps even washing windshields on the intersection of Blackstone and Herndon. But for right now, it's the Radio Lounge. So good evening, sir.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering what is happening. Let me do a microphonium adjustment here. Things I should have done before. What is happening to the other side of that equation? So it's sort of hour by hour. So make the best of it is all I can say, and we will hear you a little bit later, no doubt, when we start glowing in the dark.
You can bet on it, sir.
All right, SWL 47. Checking in for all the crew. I think he has a whole QTH of radioactive people there now, so that's pretty cool. Next we go to SWL 48. SWL 49.
Hello, Dennis, and a big hello to all the tube radio enthusiasts out there. 49er is checking in. Well, let's see, some very interesting things going on in the world right now. Hope you guys have plenty of firearms and toilet paper, and we should probably be able to make it through this.
I think so. When all else fails, call CQ and and lock the doors. All right, you are sounding great, and we do have you checked in, and the 49 household over there.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
SWL 50. SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in.
51 is sounding good. Hello, Dave. You are checked into the Old Tube Radio Network.
Well, Dennis, have a good evening.
All right, let me see if I'm still connected here. SWL 52. I'll see if you're coming through on the HT. I'm looking for the green input meter. I'm not hearing anything, but I will get you, unless we're on a delay. No, we're not on a delay. I will get you checked in. Aaron is behind the golden HT tonight. Normally from behind the golden mic, as it says right here on my piece of paper. And SWL 53. Takes us over to page 4. No, page 3. Yeah, that's right. SWL 54. Get a check-in for 54. Larry, how about SWL 55?
55, checking in.
All right, staying a safe distance. 6 feet plus about 50 miles maybe, but you are sounding good. Got you checked in.
Thank you.
Then let's go over to the land of sky blue waters, SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just because I can.
And just for kicks, well, I think we're all getting enough kicks lately these days. Don't need any more. Thank you, Phil. SWL 57. And, all right, the audio did a weird thing there. That is Worldwide Sideband, 1942, out of Central Kentucky. I don't think... yes, he is there. And I just had to look on the right screen, Brown Dog Audio 57. Waving a hand and checking in. Looking good. Hope we've been having some good DX. I listened to the bands a little bit today. It was pretty awful. It was pretty awful all the way around. So, not sure what's happening. You got to have a decent station, I guess, to get out there. But with the old Tube Radio Network, a little bit of glowing in the dark helps. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 58.
58 checking in. Hope everybody's having a great evening, and thank you for doing the net, Dennis.
All right, I'm trying not to blow up things here, but I'm sort of kind of semi-succeeding, I think. You are sounding good as always. Nice audio, and Jeremy, we've got you checked in.
Yes, sir.
SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis. Evening time to all the fellas out there. Let's get this Galaxy checked in. DX2527 over Big Jake's base.
Sounding good, and it is checked in for, what is it, the 14th day of March 2020. 314. 3.14 or something. That's a pie day. Go have some pie. You're sounding good.
Thank you much.
SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
Sounding good as always, Dean, at the microphonium here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for checking in. SWL 62.
Evening time, Dennis. This is 62, checking in from downtown Clovis. On frequency and on time.
All right, I hope, is everyone behaving in downtown Clovis?
Why, of course.
Yeah, you know, Pulaski Avenue, everybody's always mild-mannered. So if you get a little fed up with the hubbub that's going on, just take a stroll down Pulaski and all is well. Thanks, Rex. We got you checked in. SWL 63, Bubba and the crew and everybody listening in from New York State. The Big Iron Country, all those 75-meter AM big kilowatt stations. Sounding good. Thank you. Over to SWL 64. SWL 65. Shortwave listener 66. SWL 67. I think that would be, well, it actually is Bill. And if I'm not mistaken, he is tuning in from, or listening in from Canby, up over there on oldtuberadio.net. So we got you checked in, Bill. Hope you're not getting too much of the storm we're getting here, but the good part of the storm. SWL 68. SWL 69.
Please, Dennis, could you check in 800? We spoke to him today there, and everything's all good up there. He says hello to everyone. Appreciate it if you could. check him in.
Yeah, we'll get Kenny checked in. He will probably be scrolling through the video, listening in, hearing your comments, and hearing all the familiar voices here from the Central Valley of California. Sounding good, looking good from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thanks, Ken. We got you checked in. Over to SWL 70.
Right here.
Hey, there he is. All right. Was there a meeting Friday night? Did you make the meeting?
My understanding is that, yes, there was a meeting. It was at a new location. I was going to go, but I did not go. But my understanding is there were a number of other people who were going to go.
Okay. Well, I didn't know about the location change, but maybe since it's part of the college campus or whatever or something, that they're just shutting everything down and not having any gatherings. I'm losing my audio. I was going to go as well, and then, believe it or not, I actually had to do something else, which was actually a bad idea. I should have went to the meeting. I just curious. All right, you are sounding good. We got you checked in.
Thanks, Dennis. Well, it sounds like you would have gone to the wrong place anyway, so if you actually won.
No, that's exactly where I would have gone and noticed is probably like, boy, I'm going to get the best seat in the house. Nobody's here.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you later.
All right. Direct net roll call. Radio's coming up. The old tube radios, glow-in-the-dark radios, 1958 to 1978. The ones you might remember if you were around at that time, the ones you might have owned, and the ones you hoped you could have owned. Maybe you have them now. If you're not familiar with the tube style radios, stay tuned, and hopefully we'll have a few coming your way. Next, we go up to SWL 71 out in Dallas, Georgia, who is joining us on the main page. Stan is checking in. There is Mr. Announcer. I've got you. Got you checked in, looking good. Over to SWL 72. And the Break OTR, go ahead, over.
SWL 65 checking in.
All right, thanks, Eric. I might have missed you there. I'm trying to get through the roll call to get to the radio. Sometimes I go a little bit too fast, but we're on the right page. I've got an X in the square. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you. I think I was just a little bit late. I'm not in a mobile, so happy to check in this evening. Have a good one.
All right, mobile is sounding good. I just realized I don't have the, control room with the S-meter. There we go. Boy, the S-meter looks it looks like it's under the weather. It looks a little green. You'd like keep the S-meter up on the video screen. Hey, my audio just came back, so that so that people can give themselves a radio check when they watch the video. And I just give myself a radio check, and without touching anything, the audio has returned. All right, 65 is in. SWL 72. In fact, I'm supposed to have that page up so you can see if you get checked in or not. That should work a lot better. SWL 73. SWL 74. Let me get Ms. Julie checked in.
Yeah, Dennis, she wanted me to tell you that she wanted to check in her 50,000 watt antenna.
That's a good antenna. I think mine's only good for about 100 watts, and I still have a lot to go before I get there. The 50,000 watt antenna can certainly handle the 80 mile per hour winds. I don't think we will get anything like that to let her know that she is checked into the old tube radio network. Next we go to SWL 75. SWL 77. SWL 78. And that is Richard out of Everett, Washington. I thought I saw him in earlier. Who did I see? That was William. do All-Star. I gotta check what All-Star is. The All-Star link instead of Echo link. Is that an ICOM thing? I will mark that and do a search and fix my ignorance on what All-Star linking is. I should probably know that. Oh, and the Bob and Steve show. They must be doing something because the Jingle Singers have been not wanting to get up to the microphone. Finally got a TV for the... Oh, that's it. Finally got a TV for the green room. It looks like a nice one. The Sony XBR98 Z9Z 8K 98 inch. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it from here if I peek through the audio rack. No wonder nobody's going to the microphones. I wonder what's on. The East Wall watching OTR and living. Oh, they're supposed to be watching OTR, but I bet they've got something else on. Are there any games? What's on TV now? I don't know. And the Cat in the Box and the Elk on the Shelf came to sing for the Jingle Singers. And don't forget to feed the fish. And wash your hands, maybe before and after. All right, well, thanks for the TV. I can watch it when they all go home. I can watch the sorry replay. Make sure I have my tie on straight. Thanks. Thanks, Bob and Steve. Let's see, what was I supposed to be doing? We're looking for SWL 79. SWL 80. Let's go to page 4, otherwise known as the patient people. And I put the X in this. Yes, look at that, Mr. Unicorn, right there on my video screen, checking in via the net, as he is self-quarantined from the radio. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. We are keeping the safe social distance. Well, if I get I've got the Orban running. If I get 6 feet away from the Heil microphone, I think he'll still be able to hear me. 81, you are sounding good. Wash your hands and don't get too silly. I know you don't. And we will look for you on the Old Tube Radio Network. Where are we going? SWL 82.
82, checking in from the Ditch Banks of Bio. Good evening.
Good evening on the ditch banks, the dry ditch banks, I think, but watch out for the mud banks in the next couple of days, and they're actually going to get some rain. Sounding good.
I hope so. Sounds good. All right, thanks, Dennis.
Let's see if Jerry is at the microphonium, SWL 84.
84, good evening there, Dennis. And I hope all's well there in your camp and your... likewise, trying to be safe, washing the hands and all that good stuff. And we're all ready here. We're, kind of kicking back and relaxing, and we're going to be riding the thing out. We're not going anywhere anytime soon, and we're batting down the hatches and being right here, no place to go for another couple of months. So we're socked in there, Roger.
All right, batten down the hatches and get the comfy chair, and you are good to go. Got you checked in. I will get the rest of the crew coming right up, and good to hear you on the air. Over.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis. Oh, and the Snowy Owl wanted to say howdy from Seattle there. And, they're really sweating bullets there, too. So a lot of people coming in to port there, and they're watching everything. They were actually some of the first people to actually close up and shut things down before it could come out here. But they're all fine, and the rest of my girls are, too. So we will be listening there. Over.
Good deal. Yeah, Seattle got hit hard with the senior facility there, and that's apparently that's what this particular virus can do. I guess age is the factor here on some of the things. All right, sounded good. We'll get everybody checked in. You're doing a good signal on into the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Thanks.
Yes.
Let's see if we can hear Reedley for SWL 85. All right, yeah, just making it through. There is John. I don't know if you're actually in Reedley or not, but I've got you checked in. Over. All right, got you in there. Next in the square into 85. We will also get the Mountain Maid Tandy Girl and the Snowy Owl 86, 87, and 88 respectively checked in over to SWL 89. I will get Darren checked in via Facebook, SWL 90. SWL 92. SWL 93 checked in early under the weather. Hope he has found the chicken soup and the good spot to rest. Let's try SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis. I was in Monterey Friday, and let me tell you what, stores are being ripped apart over there too. It's crazy. You can't believe it. Shelves are all empty. Stores are out of everything.
Yeah, I did shopping last night for I do a shopping delivery thing, and it was disappointingly disappointing on all fronts. So hopefully everyone will take a deep breath. Why was it Jack LaLanne? Remember Jack LaLanne, Glamour Stretcher Time, and the organist would come on and they'd do the breathing thing. Everybody breathe in. And then breathe out, and then everything was good. So where's Jack LaLanne when we need him? Thanks.
Exactly. Thank you.
Direct internet roll call. Radios are coming up. The glow-in-the-dark radios will be making their appearance here shortly. Always good to talk to the SWLs. Let's try SWL 103. Shortwave listener 109. SWL 110. SWL 111. All right, I didn't hear anything from Reedley on that part. And then we go, hey, there's Timtron up in the Pacific Northwest, waving a hand, listening on 27085 on the what is it, the 991. I watched a video late last night. What was it? You were, it was so late I don't remember. Where were you at? You were doing, as usual, some type of remote thing somewhere. And then I watched the AO92 on the 400. I have not even taken my 400 out of the box. I have not had any time yet, so I'm going to watch some more stuff. And what is there, about 500 pages of manuals? And I think Yaesu has a couple of videos I need to look for, check in on wires and things like that. But enjoying the videos. Thank you, Tim. SWL 113. SWL, oh, I know what it was. It was the windmill. You were driving through something and it had the windmills and some other stuff. That's right. You were doing the convoy. It was the convoy on the, I think it was the wires. So that was a good prep because I think you had the 400 going. SWL 114.
114 checking in.
SWL 114. Hello, Wayne. As always, sounding good, and appreciate the check-in here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you.
Then we head over to one of our many digital listeners at oldtuberadio.net and various other places. 128, I think I saw Mr. 128. I think I saw Mr. John Lee somewhere checking in, about a half hour ago. Schools are closed, store shelves empty, and no TP. all stations normal for the way things are today. But the Old Tube Radio Network is here. The safest place to be. You don't need to wash your hands, and we are keeping our 6 feet of distance and then some. Thanks, John, for checking in. Let's go to SWL 131. SWL 133. Getting a check-in, unless he's out there live, for SWL 135. Cliff might be listening. Cliff, if you're listening, hello. Cliff provides us with a lot of our great-looking photos of our old tube radios that are good enough to go on the OTR calendar if ever there was one. So always appreciate Cliff's handiwork on the photos, keeping us looking good and I guess out of out of copyright infringements. Who is next? SWL 137. SWL 145. Tony.
Good evening, Dennis. Tony 145, Course Code checking in. Yeah, I'd like to thank the members from the Mountain Amateur Radio Club that came over and helped put up my G5 RV antenna yesterday. SWRs were a little high, so can't use it yet, but we're checking it now.
All right, I listened in Wednesday night, and I heard you check in, but it was very weak. I mean, it was not, the signal was not anything close to what you're doing now, so that could have been the issue. But your radio or your antenna's doing good, and I hear you just fine, and we got you checked in. Over.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
And then let's go to 147, Neil in the land of Kakalaki. Spring weather and radio's quiet. Well, hopefully the radios will change. I know your weather is going to change. We're sending you some rain and probably wind and all sorts of stuff, but enjoy it while you can. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL up in Course Gold again, SWL 195. All right, and likewise, sir, the Course Gold Starliner checking in, thanks, Jim, which leads us to SWL 226. And any other check-ins? Let me check the board here to see what is going on. Yeah, take it out of the box. I know. Just a lot of stuff going on, but I will do that. I've got the antenna back up for 2 meters and 440 here, so that should help out nice. I've got a nice power supply, and I gotta start learning. I know zero. I know nothing about the wires X and all the other things, but it sounds cool. Plus, it's got the APRS, so I'll have to look for your -9, and if I ever get something going up, you can look for my whatever. Let's see. Jigsaw John checking in. Where is it? Yes, Johnny Defiant is checking in tonight. Yes, I did. What else? I'm trying to get everybody going. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking. We're going to switch over to the Tube Radio side, and I'll be back in a moment and pick up where we left off on the old Tube Radio Network. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by OTR. Brought to you by 27.085 megahertz. Brought to you by RADI. The Old Tube Radio Network.
Okay, it was nice. I can hear them now. They are away from the big screen TV. Over in the green room, the Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Going in the Dark. We hope to hear some from you. I will be standing by listening, taking check-ins. If I haven't said so before, my name is Dennis, your net controller for the evening of the Old Tube Radio Network. 27085 is our frequency in Central California, Channel 11. And you can pick us up anywhere else on your Universal Media Net web device of choice at oldtuberadio.net, or perhaps you are watching live or beaconing in the not-too-distant future at Google, YouTube, OTR listening.
25.
45.
All right, I've got 45. Hello, Paul. Jump into the green room. We will catch you for radio number 2. In fact, I'll mark that down. Paul will be radio number 2, and if you haven't already, Jerry, step up into the air chair here at 8:48. We'll get started off with whatever you are bringing to us. And I want to say hello to our stations and people listening in from all over, those from the Facebook sites of Antique CB Radio pre-1977, the CB Radio Lounge, the CB Radio Connection, High Fidelity CB Radio, probably laughing at the analog garbage here in the audio rack, but it's kind of working tonight. High Fidelity CB Radio, the 11-meter CB junkies. Hello to Vintage CB Radio tonight, the fans of Demco and related sonar and trams. We'll see if we can get any of those radios in tonight. The Vintage Tube CB Radio group, all our worldwide sidebanders listening in tonight. And over at CB Radio News, listening in, Rich Anderson and the gang out there. How am I coming in the flats of Madera tonight? Over.
Dennis, 25, checking in on a Holocrafters. The little phone, CB3A, talking on a non-powered D104, and a pretty clean little radio. This particular radio had some options on the left side above the channel selector. You had the option to get a VFO, which I have, and of course in the middle of the screen is your channel selector, whether it's A, B, C, D, what channel you're on. Hopefully I'm on the right channel. I believe I am. And then, of course, on the right-hand side above the volume is the meter, which is bouncing all over the place and doing a good job. So kind of everything is right there in your face, or my face anyway. Easy radio to operate. Hopefully it sounds good, and thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
Yeah, it sounds great. If I don't crash into the microphone while you're taking a transmission, we've got a great shot of a CB3 that includes one of those options you were talking about. This one's installed on the right side of the radio between the channel selector. On either side of the channel selector, I should say, it has the S meter. The other rectangle would have the VFO, but you've got the deluxe model CB3A, a good seller, a popular radio for 1962 and 1963 as the beginning CB boom sort of took off early on, when a lot of people were doing the Unit 1, the Unit 2, to Base 1 to Base 2, the way the FCC wanted, and then having idle chit-chat the way they didn't want, but still having fun on their CB radios like we are doing tonight. Great audio, by the way. That radio is very capable. I know when 49, Brian had his audio rack run through the Helicopters, I couldn't believe it. I've got one here from Chris's collection. We did a test a while back through the audio board, and I was just totally amazed at what great frequencies that things will pass. But it's doing good for you. Back to you. I will put up the radio and the S meter and see how it's working.
All right, Dennis, thanks. And by the way, there's a little light when you key up on the lower left-hand side, a little orange light turns on when you key up, and it's nice and bright, and two-pin radio or two-pin microphone hookup, by the way, so I could actually use the banana mic from my Browning plug it right in here. It's wired the same. So, but it's a 2-pin connection. And boy, that's about it, Dennis. Anyway, back to you. Thanks for checking it in.
Yeah, the 2-pin mic connection is similar. I think exactly the same as the Browning. I was able to match what I had for the Eagle and plug right in to do the audio board. And it worked out just fine. So if you those connectors are a little hard to find, just like the like Brown was saying, just like the crystals for the 101. I would think, just to mention on the FT101 crystals that Brown Dog Audio was mentioning, that there were enough of them around that they should be able to be found. My guess is eBay would be a way to do it, but you may end up paying a lot more than you want for those. But that was a popular radio, so probably a lot of them sitting in radios that aren't being used. Radio at hand, the Hallicrafter CB3A, looking good. Originally sold for about $160 in 1963. I don't know what the equivalent of today's prices are, but I bet that's up to about $500 or $600. It is a 7-tube. They do all that with 7 tubes. And it will go mobile if you're 12-volt DC if you have the right cable connector, and there is a schematic at oldtuberadio.com. Sounding good for getting us started off tonight. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Dennis, and hello, Paul. Back to you.
All right, yeah, let's all say hello, Paul, SWL 45. Just a reminder, as Paul steps up into the air chair here, that you do not have to have any prior experience. You can be a first-time caller on the Old Tube Radio Network. No numbers required. This is not a club. No secret handshakes. Well, no handshakes at all at this point. But we welcome anyone to participate. If you find yourself, pulling that old tube radio off the shelf that hasn't been fired up in 40 years, this is the place on Saturday evenings to bring it by and see what we can tell you about it and give it a run on the air. All right, Paul, how are you doing? Can you hear me over?
Yeah, just fine. I heard Jerry, too. Boy, that's a sweet sounding helicopter, Jerry. Anyway, I want to check in my VC range gain, Roman numeral 2. I think you like this one, guys.
Yeah, the Regency range gain 2. Let me see. I don't know if we have a picture of that. Yes, I do. And there it is. The range gain 2. If you like the Regency Imperial, that's basically what an Imperial is. It's a range gain 2 with the product detector and I think 1 or 2 extra tubes to get the sideband in there. But this still does the double sideband suppressed carrier, 6AQ5 push-pull audio. And this radio was, I think it was over $200. This is actually a kind of an expensive radio back in 1965 when it came out, but you've got all 23 channels and an S meter, so it was top-of-the-line stuff from Regency. Back to you.
Yeah, well, I think this is a baby brother of the radio that you've got there, an Imperial, same one. And I got all the information to get that Imperial going for you. I want to give it to you real fast. It's a DSP, suppressed carrier rig, as we know, and you should not tune it any higher than 2.5 watt dead key. That's it right there.
Yeah, it'll go more. You can sit there and bring it up to 4, maybe even 5 watts, but the audio is not going to sound right. It is not made to do that. It is made to have the carriers or the power in your double sideband to get the audio. A lot of people say one of the loudest radios because of that. So that's a good way to check if you're on the watt meter and you're seeing 5 or 6 watts, unless you modified it out of any of the Regency range gain, the range gain 2. I think the Olsen spotters were sort of like that too. You need to back things down. This is missing the Golden Crown because it's not the Imperial, but it does have the final adjustment as we went through last week on the Regency, and the same metering, the S for the S meter, the plate voltage and the plate current in the front. And if it's like the Regency and the lights are not burnt out when you key the transmitter, when you key the microphonium, the S meter used to turn red if the bulb is in there.
Get back this again. There's my train of thought, which happens very easily. These right here, I believe it's just the baby brother of the big Imperial. What it is, it's exactly the same. I think it's got everything on the inside about the same. And that's why I was happy to get the information on it. But you're going to have to do that to yours right away as soon as you get it going. I hope you get it going soon. Looking forward to it. Anyway, back to this thing. It's a 12-tuber, 23-channel AM double sideband with a reduced carrier, as I say. This gives you 30 watts PEP. And boy, I'll tell you what, Dennis, it gives you 30 watts plus. This meter's swinging like I've never seen it swing before. Beautiful. Matter of fact, if I could, I'd like to appreciate it. If I could try the microphone off the Imperial on this radio, would that be possible?
Yeah, let's do that. I've got the S meter up, so if you watch the playback on the video, you can see if it worked for any more forward power. But it's definitely showing a lot of swing. So yeah, if you want to change microphonium, that's why we're here, to do testing and whatever is necessary on that. Right now, you sound good. Lots of forward movement on the carrier on the Regency Range Gain 2. We're standing by at the L2 Radio Network.
Okay. Well, the old one was the Shure mic. And this is one of my favorite mics. And you know what that is. I got it on this one. This came off the Imperial. So how does it sound?
The quality sounds good. I'm going to say that may not have as much gain or putting as much audio gain into the microphone circuit there, because it seems like you're down just a little bit in your loudness. And I'm looking at the S meter. It seems like it's not moving up as far, but for quality-wise, it sounds about the same. Over.
Okay. Well, this is my Turner microphone, and my little note on it says get up pretty close. So here I am up close. I think that might have made a difference.
Yeah, that brought the audio gain up. The other thing I want to check out, if I can get the right position here, is your frequency. I know that was one of the issues with my Regency, was the crystals were a little bit off, or a lot of bit off. So take another transmission, and I'll do the zero beat and see how close you are to 085. Over.
Okay. The meter is the same as the Imperial. They got the SUV meters, it's the signal strength and voltage and current and everything into the 1 meter. Well, this meter is working, which I'm real pleased with this old radio. I think this is a 1965 radio. I don't know what the Imperial is. I'm trying to find the date on the thing, but it's not in the book. I bet you got that, don't you?
Yeah, the Imperial was 66, or late 66 and 67. I was listening to you on sideband. Because that is a reduced carrier or suppressed carrier double sideband, I think your sideband actually sounds clearer than the AM. That's how much power is going through your sidebands with that radio. And you are very close frequency, 20s, 848. So you're basically right on frequency with the thing. No problem with the crystals, and it has really good sounding sideband. Over.
Okay. Well, like I say, one thing the difference between this radio and the other one is just the crown on the thing. I'm so anxious to get back to the other radio and tune it like this one, because it's just amazing what this thing's doing right now. Watching the meter right now is jumping way up there. Okay. Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. The Regency Range Gain 2 from Imperial, and their chassis with the push-pull audio and the AM double sideband reduced carrier. You can find out more about that if you've got a Sam's Photo CB13. And I think the info starts on page 135. The old Tube Radio Network. Sounding good. Thanks, Paul. At the top of the hour, let's go over to the Jingle Singers to get our ID, and we'll take some more radios.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
And we were looking for radio number 3.
OTR.
All right, Ray Cotero, we've got you. I can tell you that radio number 3 is not going to be. It's not going to be SWL20 because he says he's not checking in his Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68 from Browning Lavatory. So SWL3 is not going to be the Browning, but tell us what it is going to be. 25 over.
Hey, Dennis. This is the from downtown beautiful Burbank, California. From General Radio Telephone MC5, Roger.
The Master Control number 5. There were some posts on the Facebook side. One of the people got the sideband unit that came around about this time when this came out, the SB72. So at about that time, when the first sideband radio was coming out from General Radio Telephone, the MC5, which we'll get a shot here. There it is. About the same time, their top-of-the-line radio for late 62, 63. Sounding pretty darn good. Give us a transmission. We'll put up the big picture here.
It's been kind of a project radio, but thanks to a lot of friends, I think we got all the bugs out of it, and at least it's good enough to check out on air. I am using a powered mic, a Turner Plus 3B mic, and boy, these radios probably don't need it, but that's what I ended up hiring up for it, and that's what I'm using. So anyway, the MC5, get the beater in the middle, and VFO on the left, speaker on the right, and by golly, pretty simple little radio. On the very, very bottom of the center, I guess there's a secret crystal you can plug in there and go to your X selector and talk to your secret friends on that one. Or change crystals. I'm not sure exactly what that's for, but it's there. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Yeah, if you have the right size, I suppose you could do one of those crystal swaps like we used to do on the walkie-talkies when you switch the receive. If it was a 455 offset, you'd switch your transmit and receive, and you'd be down on 26-something, and you'd have a nice quiet frequency. The only thing is, sometimes you're getting out of the pass band for what the radio was tuned for, and your range went down, but at least the noise floor went down as well. Radio number 3, General Radio Telephone, the Master Control number 5, their radio from 1963. This is, I was looking for the tubes. It is also a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tube radio like the Hallicrafters CB3A, which came out about the same time. This one will go 6-volt DC or 12-volt DC. With the proper cables. It looks like one sold on eBay in 2018 for $198. Wow. For parts, that's not too bad. There's a schematic at oldtuberadio.com and the radio live right here at oldtuberadio.net. Let's go back to Jerry as he gives us another transmission. And as I get a close-up here, let me see if I can get a close-up to show what we're going to do. Yeah, there it is. There is a switch under the S meter called tone signal, and we're gonna take a gander at that. The Q-Bird. This is the last radio the General Radio Telephone was allowed to put that in there because the FCC, I guess, didn't like tone signal noisemaker things built into the radios. You could use them externally. You could put them in the microphone and do it that way. You could actually have your receiver and transmitter go off at the same time and make a ping. They didn't outlaw that, but if you had it built into the radio with a switch like the MC5, this was the last year for that. Oh, back to you.
Hey, Dennis. By the way, I do have the DC cable for this. In fact, it's never been used. It's still in the original wrap, and I also have the mounting bracket. To mount this thing in your Electra 225 or Thunderbird, 1968 Thunderbird with the suicide door, something with a lot of room. But of course, this wouldn't take as much room up as like the Sonar 23 or the big mobiles, but it's still it's still a big radio. So, okay, Dennis, here you go. I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to keep talking and hit the switch, and then I'm going to unkey the mic. Anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis, and thank you.
There it is, General Radio Telephone MC5 with the Q-Bird tone signal beaconing out here at 27085 Channel 11 in Central California and everywhere else across the earth on Old Tube Radio Network, Radio 3 tonight. Thanks for the General Radio Telephone. I want to say hello to who's coming in news stations. The mighty KUH Brian is in the late night, early morning radio room, looking at the vintage gear on one side and the good gear on the other side, and he's got OTR. I don't know how he listens in, what he listens in on that, but OTR and one of the items there. Hello, Brian. I hope you're having some good DX. We are listening and looking for radio number 4.
45.
And 45. Hello, Paul. Over. Yeah, give us a transmission, Paul. You will be radio number 4. Over. Oh, I heard it try to keep that time.
45.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, Paul, SWL45. I'm hearing what appears to sound like an eagle. Over.
The microphone is kind of stick on me there. I think I got it straightened out.
Yeah, sounding good. Looking good right now. Over.
Okay, I'll get the radio going here. This is my Browning Golden Eagle Mark II Series B.
Okay, from Browning, the Mark II Series B. I always have trouble finding a good shot in our database, and there's so many of them out there. In fact, I think Jimmy's online. He's probably got a lot of good pictures of the Mark II. Tell us about the Series B, because I think that's probably one of the latter versions before they came out with the Mark III. But how many pieces on that particular Browning? Over.
Okay. Yeah, this is a big long thing, I'll tell you that. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces on it with a trans adapter, an SSB 15 side. It's got a 69 receiver on the thing. Just a long radio, I'll tell you. The thing's over 3 foot long.
Well, if you put a caboose on that, you would have what they call the Browning Eagle, the Mark II train, I guess.
Yeah, slightly. Well, it's got pins in front of it. It's going to take a little while to warm it up after that other one I had on there. But you did a fair job. No, it's really a neat-looking thing. I think Everett had one just like it. I don't know whatever happened to his, but he had the same amount of everything on there. Well, I've always loved to hear him with that thing. Back to you.
Yeah, I remember him checking that in. All right, let me see. I've got... This isn't exactly... Let's see. That's got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is showing 4 pieces, unless there's a 5th piece I can't see. And let me go a little bit closer, see if that helps us out here. All right, the transmitter, of course. The receiver... maybe a sideband transmitter and an adapter as well. So that's the 4 pieces. That kind of gives us an idea of the amount of real estate one needs if they're going to have something like this in the shack. Over.
Yeah, I must have miscounted. I don't believe it. It says on my that I got it in my little sheet list here, but it says a 5-piece. But you're right, it's a 4-piece. Back to you.
Well, probably you could add one of the business band amplifiers and some other things. Jimmy Fielder, who knows about these things, is online tonight. He likes the radio. He's probably going to give you the big thumbs up tonight, thinking it's probably the best Browning that they made, and he is right now probably sitting in front of his 6-piece. So there may be another piece around there you add to that thing, but to give us another transmission.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure it was probably the amplifier with the thing. Yeah, I don't have it written down as an amplifier, but I'm sure that's the other one they had in there that made it the 5-piece. But I think it's pretty well close to being on frequency. Back to you.
Yeah, I'm at 085. You're sounding good. I wasn't even going to check it because it sounds like it's right where it needs to be. Audio sounds great. It's got the great Browning audio. The ping is adjusted perfectly. Melodious, mellifluous, and not too much of it to give Net Control a headache on the headphoniums. Over.
No, you can get more ping out of it. I don't probably have the microphone set close enough to the speaker or something. But that's all right. As long as you're talking, that's all that matters. Okay. Well, thanks for checking it in, Dennis. And we'll have another one warmed up here.
97.
All right, sounding good. And Breaker acknowledged the Browning Golden Eagle Mark II Series B in that particular Browning train. We're looking at about 4 pieces. You can do 5 pieces. And if you have 6 pieces, it'll be the AM transmitter, the SSB-15, the X100 transadapter, the receiver, the 180 business amp, and there you go, the Golden Eagle 104 microphone. So yeah, that would certainly be a piece. That's thanks Jim for that on-the-fly info as we show at least 4 pieces. You could count the microphone, whether it's the D104 Golden Eagle or the banana style microphone as a piece for sure. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark. We're coming up on the 15-minute mark. Let me go ahead while Chris steps up into the air chair. We'll be right back after the Jingle Singers here.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark. Thanks for tuning us in, whether you're watching the video live or on a delayed version later on, oldtuberadio.net for the audio stream. We're right here on channel 1127.085, where we gather here every Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific time to do just what we're doing, is recreate what the sound of CB radio was like back in the day when these radios were brand new out of the box. And a lot of them sound just like that today here in 2020. Hello, Chris. Thanks for jumping into the radio room tonight. Over.
Well, this is an old man, old tube radio. I want to check this one in if that's all right with you. Is it working?
All right, so we've got an old man with the old man radio, so it's compatible. All parts are compatible. Over.
Well, it's not the old man in the wheelchair radio yet, but I would like to check in my wait, can you guess which one it is?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and actually put a picture of the General Radio Telephone Super. I know what it's not. It's not the R68 T68 from Harvey, because he said he wasn't going to check that in as Radio 5. But I bet it's the Super MC11A.
How much you want to bet?
Well, I don't know. I'm not supposed to bet, but I would probably bet a lot.
You would lose. I am checking in the Jeep made the Jim Marine Products 23 channel tube that glows in the dark. Words and amplified D104 lollipop. The Pretty Blue radio. Over.
All right, I should have known. You aren't pushing that extra little S meter half 3 S units on the less than stellar digital meter here tonight. So the G Power Mate will work. Over.
I don't think I've checked this in recently, so I figured I'd do this one here. So But the other one will be on the air eventually here. I do promise you that, unless the tubes blow up.
Well, let's see. Don't say the blow up word when we're talking about tube radios. There's a great picture. It says the Gem Marine Power Mate photo of collection of Chris. So if you've got a radio that's got a lot of blue, I think we got the right one here.
Right one. What's his name? Come over and took the picture. That is this radio itself. That picture was taken off of this radio here in my radio room.
Yeah, it's sitting there. It looks like a D104 mic on the top. And Jimmy, I'll have to ask Harvey if he ever had the phone patch for a Browning and a tone alert. Maybe that was later on. That's interesting. Or early on. Although, when it comes to phone patches, most anything can be wired into... You could put a phone patch on the G Power Mate. It wouldn't be made by Gem Marine Products, but you could do a phone patch, order a pizza.
You know, I got a phone patch. It works quite well. I got my wireless, well, my home phone, but it's, you know, it's a cordless, you know, no cord to it, but it's got speakerphone on it, so it makes it kind of nice. The only thing I have to do is key the microphone and unkey it.
Break OTR.
Yeah, breaker and knowledge will be right with you there. That works. In fact, I've got, how many phone patches? I've got 1, 2 phone patch speakers here, and I got the landliner patch. I remember doing OTR through the phone patch, through a phone with and have the Vox circuit turned on from the other room. We did that before, but don't do it that way. The Gem Marine Products G Power Mate is our radio number 5. It's sounding good. And yeah, you kind of fooled me. Take another transmission, Chris, and then we will pick up the braking station.
Well, I got to say one thing. Now, you remember some years back when Ted, I believe it was, I can't remember what it was, I think his name was Ted, that lives up there in the mountains up by Nevada somewhere up there, what is it? Something metal, blue metal or something. Somewhere's way up in there, but you remember who that was? I used to check in on my phone all the time.
Yeah, Ted was one of our net controllers, believe it or not.
Yeah, you remember I used to check him in. He'd call me on the phone, and this is when my radio and everything was all out in the garage, and I'd have this phone outside, and all I had to do was keep the radio and tell him when to talk and when not to.
There you go. Same kind of way with the real phone patch. That's why you say over a lot. We got you for Radio 5. We've got a breaker standing by probably for an SWL check-in, but the Gem Marine Products is looking blue and sounding good.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right, thanks. And the braking station, thanks for being patient. Let me bring up the SWL check-in list, and I will say go, go, go.
53 checking in there, Dennis. Sorry about that, Roger.
Hey, not a problem. I still have somewhere in my stack of papers here, page 2, and I will get you checked in. Thanks for remembering the Saturday night place to be. Over.
Bye.
And looks like we have a Radio 6 on the line. Hello, 25, over.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III. And it seems appropriate by the way, hello, Chris. That radio sounded good. Fooled me. I could have sworn it was the MC-11. But anyway, 25 checking in on a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB with the non-powered stock banana mic. Back to you, Dennis.
And good trace. This is what the radio we had moments ago morphed into from Browning in 1972. Sometime in 1972, they figured out how to stuff all those 5 or 6 pieces. Well, maybe not 5 or 6 pieces, but at least 4 of those pieces into a larger cabinet for the transmitter. I'm not sure what upgrades, if any, they did to the receiver. Probably some cosmetic differences. And then you came up with the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III. In the SSB version, they did have an AM version with the smaller transmitter. We don't have many of those checked in, but I think if you were hanging out at your electronics store and you didn't have the money for the one like you've got there, the SSB, with about $200 lighter, you could get the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III AM only version, which I suppose would work well for this net since we don't normally do sideband check-ins, but back in the day we actually had a sideband net going on Friday nights. Your radio sounds good. Let's hear it again on another transmission. Over.
Yeah, okay, Dennis. I was just going to mention Kevin used to run the Friday night sideband net years ago, and it was kind of fun to check it in. Other than that, I really haven't messed with this thing on sideband much. Just checking it in on your place to be. And by the way, thank you for hosting this net, Dennis. Without you, man, I don't know what we'd do with all these boat anchors. But anyway, thanks for checking it in.
Well, probably do just like we did originally before there was all this audio and video. Just crank down to channel 11 when it was convenient and put them on the air and talk like we all did, a lot of us, 25, 30, 40, maybe even 50 years ago on the Citizen band. That's the deal. Don't need Skip to talk local. Sometimes it's fun to do that, and it will be on its way. Cycle 25 is definitely showing up. Your radio sounds good. It's number 6 on the list. We will go back to you for another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by the Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
Yeah, okay, Dennis. Thanks for checking it in, and I know you know this radio. I think you've actually conducted the net from this particular radio, you and number 1, so it's always great memories when you guys did that, so... Anyway, thanks for checking in, Dennis. Back to you.
37.
Okay. Now I know I can get out the proper picture for the general radio telephone. Thanks, Jerry. We've got Radio 7 coming up, and Jimmy mentioning that the AM-only Mark III transmitter was left over from the Mark II parts, which I guess makes sense when they came out with, they upgraded in 72. I guess you look at the shelf back in the shop and say, we don't want to make ourselves obsolete here. We have these things, so let's kind of combine it and make it look like it's a set. And I think the price point was what the deal on that was. Probably, I'm seeing things about $200 cheaper. So that was a way to kind of upgrade. And then all you would have to do is get the receiver and fixture, update the transmitter. So good information on that. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark. We have our 7th one coming in now. Hello, Mr. Chris.
Hello, here, let me turn this mic gain down. Is that better right there?
Well, it sounded good either way.
Well, anyway, I like to check in this old new radio here, this ICO Sentinel Pro 23. Write that down.
Wait a minute. Tell me again what we were listening to. Over.
I gotta tell you, the old but new ICO Sentinel Pro. I was gonna tell you with the Turner Plus 2, like the one I had, the old trash can special. But no, I couldn't do it. I wanted to, but my heart says, no, he'll be writing this down. He'll be mad at me. But anyway, no, you was right the first time. The picture you got up there is the right one. This is the general radio telephone, the old general radio telephone, Super MC11A. And, it's got the old man in the wheelchair there with his IV, and the other old man sitting here in a swivel rocking desk office chair or rocking back and forth and turning this way and that way with the non-amplified stock microphone. Over.
Yeah, I think that's when we're showing. It's called a CM3. If it's got the badge in the center, it says Big G and the CM3. Audio is good. I kicked in the noise blanker. I normally run the noise blanker on this radio, and I run it conservatively because if some stations come in with really loud audio or a lot of high frequencies, sometimes it will make the audio sound distorted when it is not. And I just kicked it in and out. And that radio, as loud as it is and as good fidelity as it is, my radio sees it as good old audio. It doesn't see it as noise, so I can leave the noise blanker in. when you are taking a transmission on channel 11. The photo we're showing is from Cliff's collection, and he always is good about making sure that the radios are on channel 11 when he takes a photo and that they're turned on. So we're showing that the dial, the channel dial, has a green, I'll call it a green background. I don't know if it's a green light or it's a white light between a green background. But is yours the same if your channel selector has a green tint to it?
With the black stripes and the black numbers on it, yes, that's the way this one is. Videos, they all show up channel 11, except the one that I gave you comes up channel E for efficiency, 11.
Yeah, all right, let me get a little closer. We see the CM3 mic. I'm still always amazed that microphone sounds as good as it does. It may be a carbon microphone. I'm thinking it's a dynamic. Carbons usually don't have that good of fidelity. There's also a knob under the S meter, plus and minus. So that should be, even though it's not labeled, or at least not in this version that we're showing, there is what was called the Delta Tune VFO. So in theory, you should have that one pointed straight up at 12 o'clock.
That is exactly where it is. Let me see. Just a smidge to the right, but it's close, but it's, excuse me, it's still not 100% hot. The warmer it gets, the hotter it gets. I may have to tune it straight up and down, but, normally when it's hot, I have it straight up and down, but when you was talking to Gary there, both of you guys had it over there a little bit, and as it was warming it up, I was tuning it more and more center-wise, so, hey, just like the rest of us, we got to get warm before we can do anything right.
Yeah, I'm looking at the info here. It doesn't say, sometimes they'll go like a KC&a minus and a KC&a plus, give you a 3 KC spread. So unless somebody's way off, you're not gonna catch too much difference on it. That is a 9-tube radio. Sam's PhotoFax CB22, page 45. Got the 12AX7 and the audio, and of course the ECLL 800 is the output modulator tube, which I think has a lot to do with the sound. And what else was I going to ask you? Radio bullhorn. Have you ever tried the bullhorn? Ever hooked a big speaker and talked out the front door to your neighbors about citizens, do not be afraid?
Not yet. And while you was talking, I taken that dial, I turned it one way or the other. I turned all the way to the right, and you were gone. Turned back to the left, and you were gone. Put it up center, you're dead on.
Really? All right. That has a big switch. All right, let's try something now. Those who are listening in over the air will hear some difference. Those watching the video or on the audio won't. Okay, I'm going to move my, don't tell the FCC, I'm going to move my transmitter to the low side, and let's go about right that. So if you're still hearing me, if you rotate to the minus, you should be able to make me sound a little bit better over.
You have to talk a bit.
Okay, somehow I messed up here. All right, let's go. That is 2.5. So that's 2.5 KC's low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder if that going to the minus side, it brings my audio back to sounding more like AM than sideband over.
I went to the plus side, but it wasn't enough to really make you distort it or anything yet. You need to go further than that.
Wow. All right, let me go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What does that do? Over.
1/4 of the turn between the straight up and down and the positive.
Wow, that is amazing. That is interesting. I went between channels. I went 5 KCs off. So that plus and minus is almost like a full channel either side. Typically, that is not the case. So that's actually a handy tool, especially during skip when everybody's 20 over. Sometimes you can pick out that one station that is just a little bit off, high or low, out of the heterodyne. So I will make a note of that. That a little goes a long way, and the full range on that could be as much as a channel on either side, and that's interesting for just an AM radio. All right, something I learned. Thanks for rotating the dials here and playing on OTR.
When you talk, I can make you totally disappear by turning that thing.
Well, that's what clued me in why I wanted to do the test, because typically that wouldn't be the case, but that definitely isn't the case. And I went to half a channel, and you still said you still hadn't gone through the full range. So I just wonder if that's a standard thing with that. That's a good thing to know if somebody buys the radio or looking for radio that they've got that much play on it. Radio number 7 checking in at starting at 9:28. It's a couple minutes past that now. Sounding great as always with no amplified microphoniums, no linears off the back, and Chris is I'd say about 4 or 5 miles away from my location here. Give us another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by. Over.
Thank you. Damn. Well, this thing swung way over there. I don't know how far it swings on yours over there, but all right, goodness. Well, it's short of 100% modulation up here on the meters up here, and I'm dead keen about 4 and swinging about a 7 or 8 right in there.
Yeah, I would like to see that on a scope. I would venture to guess you might if you've got some asymmetrical modulation going, and you could be certainly doing more than 100%. It doesn't sound distorted or flat-topped at all. So any of the audio guys doing the audio thing would probably like to get a hold of that radio. Thanks for bringing it by. Bottom of the hour, let's go over to the Jingle Singer, see if all the wires are still up. You know, we've got that 98-inch big LCD, QD, whatever it is, TV in there now. So I notice they're not gathering around the ribbon microphones as much as they normally would. OTR is listening.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
And we're listening for radio number 8.
45.
45.
All right, 45. Paul. Hello, Paul. Step up into the air chair. You will be radio number 8. And Jerry, go into the green room. There's supposedly this new 98-inch LED TV. They're supposed to have it tuned. It's supposed to be set on the Old Tube Radio Network YouTube feed, but I have a feeling that they're probably watching Hee Haw or something over there. So give me a report when you step up for Radio 9. Right now, let's see what Paul has for us. Hello, over.
Yeah, Dennis. I've been listening to much of this radio all week on your web. This is my Aircastle 23-02.
Oh, from Aircastle. Let me see if I've got that in the archives here. 23-02. And the winner is, yes, that is, I'm trying to think, Aircastle. Who made those? Is it Montgomery Ward's? Who carried those? I'll find that out. 11 tube radios. This should be, I think, similar to like a Robin or a Panasonic chassis. I'll find out, but it sure is loud. Take a transmission.
Yeah, well, you're pretty close. The Spiegel catalog, that's you.
Oh, Spiegel, all right. As Steve Martin used to say, Spiegel, Chicago, Illinois, Spiegel, 60609. So back when Sears and J.C. Penney and Burstein Appleby and Montgomery Ward's and Spiegel, CB was the thing. You know, they had to make a whole separate department, a whole thing, electronics, and I remember the Sears catalog, 1968-69, had the E.F. Johnson clones that said Sears Roebuck on them. They sold beams, like stacked 2 antennas. And so those catalog mail order stuff were not to be outdone. This is what you would get if you were in Spiegel. So they were out in Chicago. So I wonder if this is not a West Coast thing. A pretty looking radio. This is probably the radio I should have first got when I got on the air in 1973, but I didn't. Take a transmission.
Yeah, they're nice radios. They're actually a good talking radio. They're made by Courier. The Fanfare-2300 is the same radio, exactly the same, just a different color on the thing. They're made overseas. I'm sure it's in Japan. Do you know that for sure?
Yeah, I think so. You nailed it there. That was the Fanon and Courier. That's what I was trying to think of, and also Jimmy nailed that one too. ECI Courier, like a Courier 23, I think, basically, or the Courier 23, probably the same inside. So that's why it's got the nice audio. This one is 23 channels. It's got the mod light. It is an 11 tube radio, 6 BQ5. Looking for the audio output modulator. Another 6 BQ5. I don't know if it's push-pull or not, but it's got the 6 BQ5s in there. A couple of 12-volt tubes, like preamp a 6 EQ7. Doing good. If you told me I didn't write it down, what microphone are you running with that? Over.
Okay, well, you know me and my Turners. I'm running a Turner Plus 3 amplified mic on the thing. It didn't have a mic when I got it. So I take what I get, and I like the Turners. They're my favorite. That thing came in, it has a space in between the 22 and the 23, an empty space. They snuck it in there for an extra channel. So this one has, by the way, 26.565 in the space. So he was going away from everybody, making it easy for himself. So that's pretty neat day. It's got a great modulation meter on the thing. Got a band spread control, and it's just a real pretty little radio. Courier did a real good job on this. I don't know whether it was the Japanese made it, Koreans made it, or whatever, but I know it was made overseas somewhere. I have to find out that one of these days. Back to you.
All right. Yeah, the secret channel between 22 and 23. When they started synthesizing the crystals, I think 22 was at what, 225. 235, 245, 255 for channel 23. So you had the 22A and the 22B. I had the Realistic Navajo, the first one that came out with the TRC 23, and it had the space. But you had to go in and clip a wire, and then it would show up. But if you've got a different item in there, I wonder if that's actually crystal controlled. But whenever they would say, go over to that secret frequency, it was usually 22A, which is what today now 24, I think. That's how they got out of sync. I bet you are making that modulation light bright flash pretty brightly with the Plus 3. It's sounding good.
Yeah, the modulation light's glowing pretty bright orange or red, almost red. It's doing a good job on thing. The meter's picking up there real nice too. Just a good quality little radio. I never was much a Courier fan, but well, I sure love these. Anyway, thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
It's got plenty of audio. I bet that radio would probably sound good with any microphonium, just a standard D104 non-amplified. The Turner is sounding nice. Got the S meter up for your pleasure on the playback. You can kind of give yourself a radio check. And for those listening in, Paul is up in the foothills north and east of me, probably about, I don't know, what would you say, Paul, about 30, 40 miles away.
Yeah, about 40. That's right. It's about 40 miles. It's, you're right kind of in the middle down there. Back to you.
And OTR is in the depths in that other Fresno down here in Midtown Fresno. We appreciate all our tube radio operators that take time out of their Saturday evening activities and jump into the radio room for a few moments to share their radios with us. We've been doing this for 35 years, is it? Something. It's been a long time. Back when this suit was probably new. No, in 1985 the suit still wasn't new at all, and now it's even worse. It still fits. It's not even my suit, but it fits the bill for the old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for bringing by radio number 8.
Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
And the Jingle Singers. No, we will wait for the Jingle Singers because stepping up into the air chair right now is Jerry out from Madera Heights. We'll log you in at 9:41 onto the old Tube Radio Network. And I'm not sure exactly what you are bringing by, but I will be listening in. Hello, 25, over.
By the way, Dennis, thank you for the Jingle Singers for their hospitality. The champagne was flowing, and they were definitely in a good mood. 25 checking in. We got to have at least one sonar in tonight, so how about radio? I brought out of hibernation, just to make sure that the caps didn't dry up. Hopefully it's working. The sonar FS 23 the 23 channel. The ANL is in the rear of the radio. That's the only difference I can figure out between the 23 and the 3023. Talking on a big old sonar microphone, non-powered of course, and boy, everything seems to be working. The meter's working. 23 channel, well, we got a volume squelch, RF gain, and an RF tune, and that's about it, Dennis. Big old radio. Everybody used to call this the mini Yaesu. I can't imagine putting this thing in a mobile because it's designed for AC/DC, so you'd have to have a big old car to fit this sucker in and make it work for a mobile. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Back to me in the studio. FS-23, frequency synthesized. That was their claim to fame. Scrolling through the advertisement here on the video side. Yeah, Big Radio's got a big, I guess, mobile mounting bracket that's holding the thing up. Frequency synthesized, continuous, one control channel switching, low noise, dual purpose power supply, high-level Class B push-pull modulation. That was what the sonars were famous for, was that push-pull audio. And was it the 6 AQ5s? I think Regency did that as well. So you didn't need to really feed a lot of stuff into the front. It would do it for you. Let's see. One sold on eBay, $75 in 2018 for parts. These came out in 1965, and they were just around the $300 mark, which for Sonar, I think this was their top-of-the-line radio at the time. I'll get off the advertisement and hopefully get a picture of it here. There it is, and a nice-looking radio. Back to you.
Okay, Dennis. I don't know. Hopefully the audio. Can you tell me how the audio sounds compared to like the Holocrafter or the Browning, or at least if it's sounds halfway decent, because I have no clue.
It sounds good. It's right up there with the Helicrafters. I'm thinking you could probably drive that a little harder if you wanted to. I have no trouble hearing you at all. With the push-pull audio, usually you can get away with a little bit more if you want. But for the rag chew that we're doing, I think it is working just fine. Over.
Okay, well, I was about 3 inches from the mic. Now I'm right into the mic, so did that make a difference?
Yeah, it brings up the fidelity just a little bit more low frequency and all that, but still nice, no flat topping at all. Over.
Oh, good. That's great to know. So, alrighty, Dennis. Well, like I said, we have at least one sonar check-in tonight that works. I'm sorry, I made a joke to myself. That works. I got a bunch of them around here that need a little help. So, but that's a project for later. But anyway, thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
Thanks for bringing it by. Got the close-up here. It's got an RF gain, which I think was actually a nice thing to have. And not many, especially for 1965, not many radios would give you a selectable RF gain. Sometimes they had switchable ones, but it's got a fine tuning. So a lot of deluxe features, more akin to like an amateur radio, a nice receiver. Jimmy mentions, the push-pull 6BQ5s, and he says probably one of the most indestructible CB radios ever made. Yeah, it looks like it's built like a tank, and for 1965, it's going to go in the old Delta 88, like I said, on the metal dash, bouncing around. So it's got to take a licking and still keep on ticking. Our fans from the Sonar Facebook page would be glad that one came by tonight. We've got to jump in. We've been light on the Demcos. We haven't had a tram tonight. There are Lafayettes. There are a lot of models that we are missing here. But I think when the weather warms up, we'll get a few more stations checking in on those other ones. But I definitely appreciate the Sonars. And like that, this is one of the indestructible ones, obviously, since it's sounding good in the 21st century. Thanks for bringing it by. Over.
Hey, Dennis, thanks for checking that in. Back to you.
And let's see, jingle singers are ready yet once again for some item. Yeah, they're going to tell us about the magic that is OTR, I hope.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Looking for Radio 10. And I want to put up a picture here, if you're watching the video or over at the page, of this beautiful Polycom N4. What do we have check in? I think Paul's got an 8 that he checks in. Let me go to the bigger shot here. Even bigger. And that is the Polytronics Polycom, the 4-channel. I think these are definitely from, I don't have the date, early 60s, 64. Might even be sooner than that. I'll have to check in our archives because there was the 8. But what's interesting, and the next time we have, if we have one check in, it's got, and you can't see it from this shot. Maybe I can get a different picture, but it's got the chrome case. And I don't know if you're still out there, Jimmy. Was that the way it came with the chrome case, or is that one where it got, you sandblasted it off and it was so cool you just left it that way? I'm going to, let me switch, while I'm on here, switch the picture over to, there it is, the case, and that looks more like the Courier style or not, but pretty cool. I think nobody's staying up late tonight. Everybody's tired from standing in line at the grocery store this week.
They're looking for napkins and toilet paper.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Polycom N, the N6, N12, N4, 1963, 4-channel controlled citizen band receiver with the new Vista RF stage. Front end and 11 tubes and AF output and 6BQ5. So yeah, that one's a screamer. All right, 57, Brown Dog Audio is going to go 10-7. He's still working on corralling all the radios made in China into the quarantine section. So WWS 1942 is clear, thank you. And Mitch, I agree. As I said, I think everybody's just too tired from standing in line this week. And still time to check in a radio or give us a comment if you want before we sign out here. Still people staying up to the wee hours of Sunday morning, staying up late here tonight. Hello, Texas, New York. Still in stations in California, Hawthorne, Riverside, Virginia. BC is still in. New Jersey is still in. The UK, where the sun is not up yet. Hello to Spokane, Minnesota. Hanging out, waiting for that maybe one last radio. We know it's not going to be the Browning Golden Beagle. And Washington. Waiting for Dennis to get off the stick here and unbox the 400. I will do that. It did have a manual with it, but I think there's about 400 pages missing. I'm going to go watch the Wires X video. Jingle singers are saying, what the heck? We got the microphones working. Let's try it out here one time.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR.
Let's do some adding.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Still looking for Radio 10. Yeah, the Gonset G12. What's the one that we have checking? It's the 11, which was, I think, their first, it's like 1959. Do we have a G12? Let me see if I got a pic. Yeah, I've got the, okay, there it is. Let's bring up the G12. I like that. Gonset always had some cool designs on the front. I like that little Starburst logo. The G11 had the Magic Eye. That's got what appears to be the modulation tube. Very simple. Gonset was, I've got the G76. I actually ran that on OTR. I forced the 6 meter, which you could put an external crystal on the 6 meter part. And I think I forced it down to 11 meters. So I'm not sure about that. I didn't use it too long. Not sure about the spurious emissions with the 27085 crystal on the 6 meter spot, but it worked. Not bad for 8 tubes on the G12 with a 6BQ5. Yeah, I'd like to hear one of those. OTR standing by.
it's pretty quiet out there, Dennis.
It is, yeah. I think people are everybody's just tired. It's just been it's been a grueling, tiring week. So I don't blame you at all. Plus, you know what, the channel is actually, I'm not getting a lot of static. The noise blanker's doing its thing. So everybody is tired, even the ionosphere.
Yeah, you know, I made my rounds today. I went out towards Winkles. That was no good. Walmart, all those places were sold out. But my neighborhood store right here in the corner had toilet paper to throw. He could take care of all of us right now. I don't know what the deal is on that. Everybody passed him up. They hit the big stores, but they didn't hit him up.
Well, that's an issue right there. I mean, there's a lot of big stores, but people forget that your local neighborhood grocer, who is probably just hanging on, barely hanging on, is always good to do business there. And they have a lot of stuff in stock and good place to go. Yeah, I had to go into Winco last night for my shopping thing, and that was the most discouraging, depressing thing I think I've seen in a long time. Just in all aspects. I won't go into it, but it was, I think it would have been nice to go to the smiling local neighborhood grocer and hang out.
Oh, yeah, right here at Save-Mart here on Ashland and in West there. I went in there and meats. They had plenty of meats. Chicken was all gone. Plenty of red meat. But I understood. I heard that I talked to a fellow here a while. Other places like Winkles, they were all out of that already. And here, plenty of meats. So the people were buying that, and I instead of I couldn't find hand sanitizer, so I bought me 4 bottles of 50% alcohol to keep handy. And toilet paper. Well, I also bought me some towels, paper towels. Bought me a big pack of that. I can cut those into 3 sections, each row.
Yeah, good ingenuity. Necessity, the mother of invention. I guess I should have, instead of having a bozo in the background here, I should have placed a roll of Charmin up there to be more apropos for what's going on. You know what? I'm blocking my great sign, the on-the-air light, with the microphonium here. Let's see, is that the way to go? I should do that. There we go. That's a little bit better. Going to be counting and amounting. If you have a radio you'd like to check in, I'll get it before we sign off tonight. And I hope everybody is like Jackal. I don't have the music. We're going to take a deep breath, exhale, and continue on. OTR standing by.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Yeah, John, I like that Charmageddon. That could describe it all, I think. Hey, let's add another one to the list here. Go over to the shortwave listener list and jumping in here at the 11 o'clock hour. Richard, SWL 78, waving a hand to the old Tube Radio Network and the Tube Radio operators and the SWLs. Up there in Everett, where it could be raining. We've got rain here on this part of the West Coast. Yeah, see, I don't blame you for thinking it's Friday. It's just been one of those weeks. Seems like every day is Friday. We will see what happens. Anyway, I'm glad that we can kind of retro a Saturday evening on the tube radios here. They're still watching TV over there. I'm trying to get Mr. Announcer to help out. And yeah, here comes a fanfare. I want to do a thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
Okay, well, that was loud. That worked. OTR totals, final totals on this version of the old tired tube, as number one, we used to say, the old tired tube radio network. We had 52 SWLs checking in. I didn't do very well. I was trying to meld into the crossband, and I don't think I have the audio patch just right, so it didn't sound that good. 8 check-ins on page 1, 12 on page 2, 16 on page 3, 16 on page 4. This is the new 8-week roster. And who was, where is it? Who was 00? Oh, it's JT. 21. Let me mark that. Get him in there for next week, and also a check-in. So that gets another on page 1 that I missed. Radios tonight, we had a total of, we didn't quite make double digits. That's because the R68, T68 didn't check in tonight. So we'll have to, Harvey, I'll have to check in twice next week. 9 radios with a tie, most heard manufacturer from the General Radio Telephones and the Browning. Started off with the Hallercrafters CB3A from Jerry, and then Paul picked up the Gauntlet with the Regency Range Gain 2 with the suppressed carrier, double sideband, nice audio. The General Radio Telephone Super MC5 was radio number 3. Thanks, Jerry, for that. Paul came in on his Browning Golden Eagle Mark II Series B, 4 pieces, and Jimmy was in with the 6-piece radio tonight with the Microphonium. Radio number 5, Chris on the Gem Marine Products G PowerMate. Also, Jerry on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. The General Radio Telephone Super MC11A was radio 7 from Chris. The Air Castle, check your Spiegel catalogs. 69, 70, 71, somewhere like that, for the 2302. The Air Castle in Courier Clothing, and the Sonar FS23, Radio 9 from Jerry tonight. Thanks, everybody, for kind of jumping back in the easy chair and listening in tonight. Hopefully you'll get some time to do radio and not stand in line. 36 degrees and clear up in Washington, up in Everett, and it is probably in the mid-50s, and I don't think it's raining yet, but it's probably going to start raining here at any time in Central California. Thanks to SearchLaunch.com and Frodex for all the digital stuff, and thanks to all of you here locally, and those of you who do a good job on the various Facebook sites and information that we use, and jumping in here and letting us know what's going on. To keep all this stuff on the air, so get on the air, won't you? Whether it's on 11 meters or somewhere else, we'd like to hear from you. So without anything else going on, I will say goodnight, everybody who's still out there. On the radio, 72s and 73s, and 74s if you can take off one. That's the inflation part of it. We will be talking to you next week, we hope, on the Old Tired Tube Radio Network. Over.
Maybe wanting to get toilet paper next week for each entry.
Now, I think at some point, people will realize they have enough to last till Christmas, so.
Oh, okay. Been doing the yards, but anyway, great net, Dennis. Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
All right, I'm going to go check on Charlie Alpha Tango, see if it's raining somewhere, see what I broke, what fell off the desk. There's go watch the giant screen TV that's supposed to be over in Studio B. Feed the fish.
VLF, KD6, KGM.
And hey, now the crossband is working. What can I say?
Sounded good.
And man, the radio is just quiet tonight. It'd be a good night for some E-skip, and it's not going to be there. All right, everybody. 73, thanks for jumping in here and staying up late. I think it's time to get out of the suit. John, Motormouth Mall hasn't asked for it back yet, so we'll probably see it next week.
Take off already?
Good night, everybody.